I was out with friends at a bar, playing the adult version of Truth or Dare, when the bottle spun and landed dead on me. My best friend whooped immediately. See that guy in the middle of the booth over there? Top 3 buttons undone on his shirt, total cold on the outside, fire on the inside type. Go make him hold you and stare into your eyes for 3 minutes, 0 distance, got it. The whole table erupted in squeals. I flushed, glancing over at the man, and protested right away. I haven't chosen yet. I pick Truth, fine. Is there anyone here you like? Figures my best friend knows exactly how to push my buttons. I didn't dare glance at the senior beside me, the guy I'd almost started dating. For 2 months, we'd acted like a couple. All we were missing was a formal confession and a public announcement. But H just gone official with his girlfriend right as the game started. It mumbled out a transparent congratulations, my voice shaking the whole time. I sighed silently, hesitated, then pushed myself to my feet. Colorful disco balls spun dizzying light across the bar. A female singer's smoky voice drifted over the jazz track, thickening the already heavy, flirtatious air. The man in the booth was devastatingly handsome. His sharp, deep features were painted in streaks of neon light. He carried a wild, untamed energy, yet hadn't given a single smile to any of the girls hovering nearby. I figured the worst he could do was say no. Tonight couldn't get any more humiliating anyway. Excuse me. He looked over. His dark, feline eyes crinkled slightly at the corners, and he raised an eyebrow when he saw me. I took a deep breath. Sorry to bother you, but could you do me a favor? That was a stupid way to put it. I bit my lip in frustration, half wishing the bar would lose power so I could slip away in the dark. The people sitting around him looked like they'd seen this 100 times. A few even were faint looks of pity. I sucked in another breath, too embarrassed to say the words out loud. Forget it. I'll just go back and take my drink penalty. Get drunk enough to forget all of this. I was just turning to leave when a low, magnetic voice stopped me. Truth or Dare? Sure. I looked up in shock. The group of rich kids around him looked even more stunned, like they'd seen a ghost. Their eyes bounced back and forth between us, brimming with gossip. No, what do you need me to do? He was already standing up. Cheers erupted from my friends behind me. I glanced over on instinct, and saw Jacob with his arms slung around his girlfriend, looking sickeningly sweet. I thought about how H texted me last night. Good night. Got a surprise for you tomorrow. What a surprise. All right. I looked back at the man, dropping the awkwardness. I need you to hold me and stare at me for 3 minutes, okay? He was a full head taller than me. When he stepped closer, the scent of cold fur wrapped around me. He moved like he was going to lift me into a bridal carry. No, that's not it. I put a hand on his chest to stop him. Voice small, he tilted his head in confusion, but respected my space and pulled his hands back. My ears burned. I'd never been this close to a man before, let alone one this good looking. I need to sit on your lap. And we stare at each other. He caught on immediately. You want me sitting down? I nodded. He stepped back and lowered himself into the booth again. Gone was his lazy, slouched posture. He sat up straight, elegant as a concert pianist performing in Vienna's Golden Hall. His arms rested lightly at his sides, like a safe, steady boundary. I swallowed hard. I could feel dozens of eyes burning into my back, overthinking how to position myself without making it weirder. He saw my embarrassment. His long, slender fingers curled gently around my wrist. I stumbled forward at his tug, and to keep from crushing his legs, I automatically stepped one knee onto the couch. Before I could process it, I was straddling his lap, this close. The position was so mortifying I tried to bolt, but a hand pressed against my lower back, holding me steady. I flinched and pressed myself even closer to him by accident. He shifted slightly, and our eyes locked. His dark gaze held a faint, permanent smile. His deep voice cut through the noise of the bar. 3 minutes, right? Pay attention. It felt like an invisible string was pulling our gazes together. The air thickened, charged with something warm and heavy. Tension coiled tighter and tighter between us. My breath came faster, heat spreading across my cheeks. 3 minutes felt like an eternity. Just when I thought the person timing was messing with me, I felt something hard press against me and went rigid. My eyes darted away for half a second, and his hand tightened on my waist. Focus, or we start over. I was burning up from head to toe. I swallowed hard, trying to pretend I hadn't felt anything when he spoke again, quiet enough only I could hear. Sorry. Didn't mean to. It's a normal reaction. Hard to control. The timer on the table finally beeped. I practically jumped off of him. He covered his mouth and coughed, Staying seated for a long moment, a sugary sweet voice cut in from beside me. A hand shoved me hard enough that I stumbled. Elijah. What brings you to a place like this tonight? Buy me a drink, Elijah? My brain latched onto the name immediately. There was only one prominent Hale family in the city. The only one everyone called the heir was Elijah Hale, the untouchable, notorious crown prince of the upper crust. Panic flooded me. It'd mess with someone way out of my league. All I caught was the cold, sharp word he spat at the girl. Get lost. I ran for it, heart hammering. My best friend wiggled her eyebrows at me when I got back. How was sitting on that hot guy's lap? Still hung up on that meathead? Jacob, the meathead in question, scowled. His girlfriend laced her fingers through his, and he yanked his hand away, face dark. My heart was racing a mile a minute. I grabbed my friend's arm. We need to go. We just messed with someone we absolutely shouldn't have. I didn't finish the sentence. That cold first scent washed over me again, and the tall, imposing man was standing right in front of us. I let go of my friend's arm, hands shaking. I figured I'd take responsibility myself. It asked him before I sat on him, and H said yes. Surely a rich heir like him didn't have time to pick on a regular nobody like me. A sincere apology should get me off the hook, right? I lifted my head and met those dark, feline eyes. There was a faint smile in them, and, was that apology? I was confused. Elijah leaned down slightly, his tall frame casting me in shadow under the bar lights, heady, intimate. His cool voice brushed my ear. I lost my dare. Help me out. I turned to look at him in shock, our breaths almost tangling. Elijah chuckled. The open collar of his shirt showed a flash of pale, smooth skin. Please. I swallowed so hard I could hear it. My face went up in flames instantly. I'm sorry. The smile faded from his eyes. For a second, he looked hurt, but he composed himself and stood up straight. It's fine. I'll go drink my 5 bottles. 5 bottles? I jolted. Their game was way more intense than ours. H done me a huge favor, after all. I grabbed the hem of his dress shirt on instinct. His whole body went rigid. He turned back in surprise, and I could see the joy spark in his eyes. Impossible to hide. Thanks. Elijah bent down, one arm under my legs, and lifted me clean off the ground in one smooth motion. He held me easily, a champagne flute in his other hand. He looked completely at ease, lazy and regal, like he did this every day. I gasped and automatically wrapped my arms around his neck. My wide, panicked eyes met his amused ones, glowing under the lights. The whole bar erupted in gasps and whispers. Shock, envy. Half the room was pulling out their phones to take pictures. He didn't seem to notice any of it. The city's most revered heir looked up at me like I was the moon. Before I could squirm away, that low, magnetic voice spoke again. 5 minutes. If 3 minutes had felt like an eternity, 5 minutes was like the whole world had frozen in place. Honestly, freezing would have been better. I was so tense I could barely move, forced to rely on him completely. I went stiffer. I zoned out for a second, and he shifted me gently, carefully, in his arms. All my weight rested on his firm, muscular forearms. When he adjusted me, my calves pressed right up against the hard muscle of his stomach, and he just blinked those pretty feline eyes at me, looking completely innocent. Sorry. Did I make you uncomfortable? I'll be gentler. I shook my head, then I realized how that sounded, and my ears burned even hotter. Relax, I'll take it easy from here on out. Somehow, that sounded even worse. I couldn't look away, staring at each other this long. I could see the slow bob of his Adam's apple, pale and sharp. His gaze flicked to my lips for a split second, dark and hungry, like he wanted to devour me. My brain short-circuited. I couldn't hear the cheering anymore. My body went weak, melting into his arms. Seconds ticked by. I was drowning in the scent of cold fur on his skin. I was burning up, my fingers crumpling the expensive custom fabric of his shirt without realizing it. I'm sorry. I was on the verge of tears. He looked at me, soft and tender, and brushed off my apology. That wasn't directed at you. By the way, I blinked. I was happy you came over to me. My chest tingled, warm and fizzy, at the smile in the corner of his eye. I realized he was talking about the get lost from earlier. My eyes automatically darted toward the girl had shoved me, but Elijah held me tighter. I remembered we were still in the middle of a game, and looked back into his eyes. The heir spoke, quiet and almost sad. Does this mean I finally get to be someone you notice in a crowd? There was a faint, familiar sorrow in those pretty eyes. My already frazzled brain completely shorted out. Sorry, did I scare you? His cool voice cut through my thoughts. He kicked the friend next to him lightly, laughing. Is 5 minutes up yet? Are you messing with me? The equally wild-looking man beside him pretended to check his watch. The timer beeped, and he grinned at me. Oops, got distracted drinking, my bad. Beautiful. Elijah lifted his foot to kick him again, and the whole group laughed and scattered. I couldn't stop thinking about the low rumble of his voice. We were so close I could feel the faint tremor of his chest, the slow roll of his Adam's apple, like everything was moving in slow motion. I swallowed hard, and then, to my horror, I realized I kind of wanted to devour him too. No way. A nobody like me doesn't get to reach for someone like him. The owner of those very noticeable chest muscles looked over at me. Can you stand? I nodded, too flustered to meet his eye. I stared at the ground, which put me eye level with his pale chest and collarbones, close enough to see the tiny red mole just above his sternum. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Elijah finally set me down, steadying me by the waist until I was steady on my feet. My best friend picked that exact moment to walk over. I hid behind her, face in my hands, but she tugged me out grinning. Hey, hot guy, my friend's never been held by a guy before. You gonna at least give her your number if you're not gonna take responsibility? I panicked, yanking on her arm and hissing, stop it. Do you know who he is? The man turned around fully. I froze. Ramrod straight and watched him pull out his phone. Sorry, I was too nervous to ask earlier. Can I get your Instagram? Shaking, I pulled out my phone to pull up my profile. I heard him lean in, voice low enough only I could hear. Sorry, I lied earlier. I just didn't want you to say no. The follow request popped up right as he spoke. He accepted it instantly, eyes crinkling with that lazy, confident smile, and waved off his whooping friends. When the night ended, I tossed and turned, replaying every second of the evening over and over. Jacob texted, "You up?" I didn't reply. In the dark, my phone lit up again. I ignored it until the phone started ringing, annoyed. I sat up to snap at whoever it was and froze when I saw the caller ID. Elijah Hale. A text from my best friend popped up at the same time. Babe, you're trending online. I stared, thinking it was some new prank she'd found online. I took a deep breath, my heart racing loud in the quiet dark. Hello. A bright, cheerful male voice came through the line. Is this his girl? Elijah's wasted. Keeps saying your name. Won't let anyone touch him. Can you come take him home? The phone was passed over. I listened to his low, rough voice through the speaker, slurring my name into the receiver. I stared at my phone, stunned. After debating for way too long, I grabbed my keys and headed for the address the friend had sent. They'd moved to an upscale private club I'd only ever heard of by name. I needed ID just to get in the door. Luckily, one of Elijah's friends came down to meet me and led me straight inside. The host had stopped me earlier, apologized frantically. I was a fellow service worker. I got it. I didn't snap at him, just brushed it off. Elijah was really drunk. When his friend stepped aside and he saw me standing there, his handsome face crumpled into a sad little pout. He stumbled over and wrapped me in a tight hug. He smelled like cold fur, mint, and faint champagne. But his arms, his chest, they were burning hot. His voice was rough and thick with alcohol. Baby, you weren't there. They made me drink so much. It hurts. He pressed a soft, warm kiss to the tip of my ear, voice low and coaxing, like he was begging, take me home, please. My brain went completely static, my legs almost gave out. The whooping behind me pulled me back to reality. The crystal chandelier overhead blazed bright, with so many people watching. I got flustered and tried to push him away, but he just held me tighter. He looked more upset than I did, clinging to me like a big, sad puppy. Don't leave. I made a face, looking to his friend for help. Can you please take him? Before I finished, a set of car keys was shoved into my hand. The friend scratched the back of his head, looking dead serious. Look, his grandpa has a strict curfew. Show up this wasted and hell tan his hide for sure. You wouldn't want him all beat up, would you? Tan his hide? The city's golden heir gets spanked? I gasped. Before I could hand the keys back, he nuzzled my neck again. I stumbled, and his hand splayed across my back to steady me. Don't wanna be apart from you. I looked at the other friends for help. The ones had been watching and laughing immediately looked away, pretending to be too drunk to stand. Great. I sighed, and helped him toward the door. When we got to the parking lot, I pressed the unlock button on the key fob. The limited edition Lamborghini dead center of the lot flashed its lights. Can you stand? I panted. He finally eased up on clinging to me. His voice was thick, syrupy, soft. Yeah, baby. My ears burned bright red. Wait here, okay? I'll pull the car around. Elijah nodded obediently. His messy bangs fell over his brow, and he looked almost boyish innocent. I turned around fast, terrified to see how flustered I was. Somehow I got him up to my apartment and settled on the couch. I went to get him a glass of honey lemon water, but when I came back, he wrapped his arms around my waist again. He pressed his nose against my shirt, breathing me in. Those pretty feline eyes looked up at me from below. Baby, I like you so much. Can you like me back? I could hear my own heartbeat thudding in my ears. My voice shook like who? He stood up abruptly and said my name like a prayer. Then he said it again, slower, like he needed me to believe him. Stop liking that senior guy, okay? He's no good for you. My chest was pounding too hard to think. I stared at his perfect face, inches from mine, and swallowed hard. Elijah saw the way I was looking at him, but he just kept looking sad and pitiful. Baby, can I kiss you? I didn't say anything. I couldn't say anything. His pretty brows furrowed. Those eyes got even more dejected. No, I still couldn't speak, but when he lowered his hand, defeated, I reached up and caught his wrist, then pressed his palm to my cheek. That was all the encouragement he needed. He laughed, low and warm, and the vibration of his lips against mine sent a shiver through me. I almost pulled away on instinct, but his arm curled around my back, and he kissed me deeper. My brain was fuzzy. I couldn't even tell if he was actually drunk or not. His callous fingers slid up my back. I jolted, snapping back to myself a little. I pushed at his chest, shaking. Wait, I haven't showered. Elijah's eyes were dark, hungry, unapologetically possessive. He lifted me into his arms. Okay, well, shower together, it'll help you, baby. All my protests died in my throat when he said baby in that low, rough voice. His lips found mine again. The shower was mortifying. I clung to his neck, letting him wash me while he stole kiss after kiss. When I glanced down, all I saw was his pale, defined chest and abs, glistening with water droplets. My head was spinning. I heard him fumble to hang the shower head back up. The water cut off abruptly. He kissed the tip of my ear, voice thick. Are you sure about this, baby? Was I sure? He was the one who'd been drinking. I felt more drunk than he did right now. Dazed, I nodded. He wrapped me in a towel and carried me to the bedroom, long strides eating up the distance. He set me down on the bed like I was something fragile, something priceless. My vision was blurry. I watched his huge shadow fall over me. Those feline eyes traced every line of my face. He kissed my forehead, the tip of my nose, then my soft, swollen lips. Right at the last second, Elijah froze. He brushed the sweaty strands of hair off my forehead. Jaw tight, baby. Do you have any protection? I was practically melted into the sheets. It took me forever to process what he was asking. I shook my head. His fist curled in the sheets beside my head, tight with restraint for one long second. Then he rolled off me and tucked the blanket around me carefully, stopping cold right at that moment. I tugged at the edge of the blanket, voice small. I'm sorry. He rolled back over and pulled me into his chest, burying his face in my neck. His voice was muffled. Warm, baby, I'm so happy. I blinked, confused. I didn't get why he was happy. Wouldn't most guys be mad about this? He tilted his head up to look at me, holding me tight like a big dog claiming his person. There was a soft, giddy smile in his eyes. You like me back, don't you? I hid my red face and didn't say anything. He pressed on. That senior guy never got this close to you, did he? You don't even really like him that much. He leaned in to kiss me. You're mine. My face was on fire. Right before his lips touched mine, I asked, quiet and serious, Elijah, are you actually drunk? The hungry, soft look on his face froze. He dropped his gaze, then buried his face in my chest again, playful and stubborn. Drunk. My head hurts. Need you to rub it better, baby me. When I woke up the next morning, the first thing I saw was his sleeping face, unfairly perfect even in sleep. I flushed, carefully lifting his arm off my waist. I got ready in a rush and bolted back to campus. I had a group meeting first thing, and I couldn't be late. I slipped into the room right on time, nearly running straight into Jacob. He had dark circles under his eyes, like he hadn't slept at all. The other people in my group kept glancing at me, practically buzzing with gossip. When the meeting ended, the girl across from me finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Is it true? Did you spend the night with the heir last night? My hand froze mid-pack up. Another girl piped up, bold with curiosity. Yeah, there are pictures everywhere online of you two hugging at the bar, and his car parked outside your building. Are you dating? That's the heir. He was the campus heartthrob at the private academy. How did you pull that? You're so lucky. My cheeks burned. I had no idea how to explain any of it. Jacob chose that moment to speak, voice cold. It'd be careful if I were you. Are you that desperate for money or that desperate for a handout? A guy like that will never take you seriously. Oh, and what kind of guy should I go for? Guys like you, who string 3 girls along and act like he's doing us all a favor. I snapped back, all the hurt and frustration spilling out at once. Jacob's face twisted. He stared at me. Then his eyes darted past my shoulder. A low voice spoke from the doorway. Funny. I didn't realize getting drunk and letting my girlfriend take me home meant so many different things to people. There was a ripple of gasps from the hallway. Everyone in the classroom froze. I spun around. Elijah was leaning against the doorframe, one hand in his pocket, expression sharp and unamused. Standing behind him was Jacob's brand new girlfriend. Victoria walked straight into the room. Before I could say anything, she marched right up to Jacob. You only asked me out because my dad's the associate dean of your department, didn't you? Jacob went pale. He reached for her shoulders to explain, but she stepped away, face cold. What? You thought climbing up my family would get you ahead, but you couldn't resist stringing along the cute freshman too? It's almost impressive how someone so average can be so full of himself. Dating you is gonna be the funniest story I tell my friends for years. Over the murmur of onlookers outside the window, she turned to me. Sorry about all this. I had no idea he was messing with you too. I waved it off. Flustered, I was too busy staring at her easy, unapologetic smile. She nodded toward the doorway, meaning clear. Lucky for you. He's an idiot. Someone else finally got his shot. I was still blinking when she turned and walked away, sharp and confident. I didn't want to stand around being gawked at. I didn't spare Jacob another glance, and walked toward the door. The second I stepped into the hall, a warm, dry hand closed around mine. I looked up in surprise. He smiled at me, bright and soft. Elijah brushed a strand of hair behind my ear, his gaze steady and warm. I'm sorry, baby. I know you wanted to keep this quiet, but I couldn't just stand there and let people talk about you like that. The whole hallway erupted gasps, cheers, quiet squeals. People were filming left and right. He didn't notice any of it. He held my hand tight and walked me through the crowd of onlookers, steady as anything. All I could hear was my own heartbeat. Outside the main building, May wind carried the scent of locust blossoms. All I could think about was last night, the heat of him, the things we hadn't finished, that kept replaying in my head. I didn't snap out of it until we got into his flashy Rolls Royce and he leaned over to buckle my seatbelt. That cold fur scent wrapped around me again. My skin warmed all over. When he pulled back, I reached out and caught his hand. He looked surprised, more shocked than happy. Even, he swallowed hard, nervous. About last night. I started, hesitant. I'll take responsibility. Elijah cut in, serious. My parents are abroad. They'll be back next month. We can go see my grandpa first. His word is final in this family. Tomorrow I can come meet your parents, if that's okay. Kind of nervous about it, honestly. What? I stared at him for a full 10 seconds before I processed what he was saying. Panic flared. No, that's not. We only just last night was just. His face darkened. Just what? I fumbled for the right words, like the bar thing, you know? 2 adults, good mood, mutual, thing. You know what I mean. Surely one night didn't mean we had to get married, right? And we hadn't even gone all the way. For God's sake, I don't know. His jaw was set, sharp and stubborn. That was my first time. I didn't plan it perfectly, but I didn't do it on a whim. I thought about this about us long before last night. I'm not the kind of guy who sleeps around, and the Hale family has rules. If I do something like this and don't make it right, my grandpa will break my legs. I stared, shocked. It can't be that bad. It is that bad. I thought back to what his friend had said. But you're his only grandson. There's no way H actually hurt you. He would. He's always been strict, ruthless even, so you have to take responsibility for me. My mouth opened and closed. I had no idea what to say, but we don't even know each other. We've only met twice. We have nothing to build this on. More than twice. Elijah pulled out of the parking lot. Sunlight filtered through the window, gilding the side of his face. He looked completely serious. And I know you. Your period's at the end of every month. It hurts like hell, but you still crave ice cream anyway. You go to the library at lunch because it's the quietest time, and everyone's half asleep so no one bothers you. You like pearl jewelry. You love the special milk tea by the entrance of the second cafeteria. and the rice noodles on the second floor of the third cafeteria mildly spicy. He went on, listing tiny little details and never even noticed about myself. I stared at his perfect profile, my chest tight. A thought I'd been too scared to say out loud bloomed in my head. Elijah, how long have you? I didn't finish the question like me. The car screeched to a stop. Elijah rested his long, slender fingers on the steering wheel. He turned to look at me and smiled. Baby, I've known you, liked you, watched you way longer than you think, way longer than he did. Will you give me a chance? You don't have to know everything about me right now. Just let me stay by your side. My brain felt like it was full of fireworks, popping off one after another. He led me out of the car in a daze, led me into a mansion in the most expensive part of the city. I heard someone call him sir distantly, like I was underwater. My brain was running a mile a minute, cooking up every rich family drama trope it ever read. The take this 5 million and leave my grandson speech, the scary, strict grandpa I'd only ever seen on the news. I thought about what H said, ruthless, strict, and went pale. I tugged on his hand, refusing to go inside. The gilded carved front doors swung open. Elijah smiled, soft and coaxing. Don't be scared, baby, I'm right here. It's just a quick visit. If you get uncomfortable, we can leave whenever you want, okay? I got distracted by his stupid perfect face and nodded before I thought about it. We walked in holding hands. The first thing I saw was an old man on the couch, dressed sharp. Flipping through a newspaper, the old man looked up at me and immediately set down his paper. He stood up. There you are, dear. This grandson of mine is a handful. I'm sorry you've had to put up with him. Come around more often, okay? If he ever misbehaves, you tell me. And I'll set him straight. I blinked, caught off guard. I nodded, flattered, then glanced sideways at my so-called boyfriend. He was nothing like they'd described. The heir coughed, looking guilty. Grandpa, come on, it's our first meeting. Could you at least say something nice about me in front of my girlfriend? Boy has more flaws than I can count. That poor girl's gonna put up with a lot from you. Don't you sass me. I pressed my lips together to keep from laughing. There was a clatter of footsteps on the stairs. A girl in a Chanel dress came barreling down barefoot, leaning over the railing. Grandpa, did you try that new tea set I got you? We locked eyes. I froze. The fancy, rich heiress standing there was my best friend. The same girl had eaten street food with me at 2 a.m. and ranted about our terrible counselor. Scarlett's mouth dropped open so wide I swear she could fit an egg in it. She looked exactly like she did when we were messing around together. The old businessman recovered first. He shook his head at his 2 guilty-looking grandkids and sighed. The heir panicked, squeezing my hand. Baby, I can explain. Scarlett finally snapped out of it. She ran over barefoot and grabbed my arm, tugging me toward her room. Come with me. We need to talk. I frowned. She leaned in, whispering, all dramatic misery. Please don't make me get on my knees and beg. And I'd thought she'd be the reliable one. So there we were, in Scarlett's fancy huge bedroom, getting the whole story. Okay, so he saw you first, remember sophomore year? I was in that debate competition, and I spilled on my dress. I made you bring me a new one? I vaguely remembered that. I nodded. I'm so sorry, babe, that wasn't a debate competition. It was a gala. He saw you from the second floor that night, and it was over for him. He wanted me to introduce you to, but have you met him? Total spoiled rich boy attitude. I couldn't do that to my best friend, and he was stuck abroad for 2 more years. Long distance, international long distance? No way was I letting you go through that. And then you started liking that Jacob guy. I choked a little internally. I was screaming. I would have gone through it. I would have gone through so much for him. I lifted my hand to flick her forehead, and she flinched, pointing at the guy across the room who was watching us like his life depended on it. Babe, hit him first. If you hit him first, you can't hit me later. I sighed. You two are ridiculous. Can we please just have a normal conversation? We thought you'd be mad. I rolled my eyes. Did you really have to get on your knees about it? I looked at the 2 of them kneeling straight up in front of me. I still couldn't get used to the sight of them both dropping to their knees the second we walked in. If anyone found out about this. Scarlett clung to my leg, swinging it a little, looking pitiful. Babe, do you forgive me? I asked. So the bar, the truth or dare, that was all a setup? No, no way. She shook her head fast. Not all of it. I honestly thought H get over you after a few weeks. I had no idea he was that serious. He never bothered you, you know? Just flew back every once in a while to check on you. scared the hell out of me a bunch of times. But you and Jacob were already getting close, and I thought he was a good guy. I told Elijah he couldn't be the other guy, he was so miserable back then. And then Jacob went public with his girlfriend. I was furious. I ran into Elijah drinking alone at that bar that same night. So I thought I'd give you two a little push. You're not mad, are you? I hesitated, then shook my head. Scarlett popped right back up, plopping down next to me like we were a team. Best friend, let's interrogate this guy together. If he's no good, we dump him. I'm on your side always. Real quick turnaround. The heir was still kneeling, his narrow waist cinched tight under his dress shirt, unfairly attractive even on his knees. Just looking at him made my legs feel weak. I spoke quiet. You can get up, you know. Scarlett nudged me. Don't. You gotta set the rules early. Otherwise hell walk all over you. She leaned in to whisper in my ear, my brother's loaded. Hear me out, we milk him a little. Then tonight I'll take you out to see some male strippers. Sure enough, Elijah scoffed. You want your new season designer bags or not? Scarlett gasped. Don't hold my stuff over my head. I can hear you, you know. You're planning to take my girlfriend to see male strippers. What? You two done this before. Now we both looked guilty. I mumbled. Who said I'm your girlfriend? It meant it as a joke. A little bit of playing hard to get, but the man across from me instantly panicked. Elijah's long fingers trembled. He reached out and rested his hand on my knee, voice tight and unsure. Baby, I'm sorry. I know I asked around about you, learned your schedule and the things you liked, but I never crossed a line. I went to that bar that night 'cause I knew you'd be there, but I never thought you'd actually come over to me. I didn't put Scarlett up to it. I swear, if you're mad, yell at me, hit me. I'll stay here on my knees as long as you want. I panicked. I looked over at Scarlett for help, and she looked just as shocked as I felt. Guilt twisted in my chest. I tugged on his arm to get him up. Will you just stand up and talk to me? He let me pull him up, then pulled me right into his arms. Don't leave me, please. Scarlett looked like she'd seen a ghost. She snuck toward the door, then paused and pointed back at us. Babe, just take him. I've never seen him like this in my life. He's down bad, like really down bad. The door clicked shut. I flushed and pushed at his chest, but he didn't let go. I mumbled into his shoulder. I'm not gonna leave you. Elijah's arms tightened around me. You said you weren't my girlfriend. I hid my face in his shoulder, annoyed. I was being shy, dummy. He pulled back a little, cautious. So we're not breaking up. I made a small hum of agreement. He kissed my forehead, then loosened his hold just a little. I glanced down soft. I told you twice to stand up. Your knees don't hurt. They don't hurt when you love me back. He tried to nuzzle me again, and I pushed him away. The hazy, hungry look in his eyes shifted to something sad and pouty. Baby, stop being cute. I haven't even asked you yet. How did someone like you fall for me at first sight? Elijah coughed into his fist, a faint pink tinge high on his cheekbones. She didn't tell you the whole story. I saw you once before, on a video call with Scarlett. You were ranting about this guy who spread rumors about you, and how you called him out in front of everyone and made him apologize. I thought you were amazing. Then that night at the gala, you got out of a taxi holding that dress. In your plain white shirt and jeans, you looked like you were from a whole different world than everyone there, all fake smiles and schmoozing. I wanted to be near you, wanted to listen to you talk about all the little things that happen to you every day, the good and the bad, all of it. My face burned. I blinked, at a loss for words. Sorry, the plain clothes weren't a vibe. They were just my entire budget. When we walked downstairs holding hands, Scarlett was sitting with her grandpa drinking tea. She took one look at my red cheeks and swollen lips, and shook her head. Grandpa, is he part dog or something? The old man looked over. I covered my mouth in a panic. Elijah pulled me closer to his side. Tease me all you want, but don't fluster your sister-in-law. Scarlett rolled her eyes, looping her arm through her grandpa's. Grandpa, can you give her the villa up north? It'd be perfect for us when we graduate and start interning. Elijah reached the bottom of the stairs first, and held out a hand to help me down. She can intern at the family company, and don't think I don't know what you're up to. That area's full of those strip clubs. You're not taking her anywhere sketchy. That's so biased. Total chauvinist. Scarlett huffed. Who got you two together, huh? You'd still be moping alone if it wasn't for me. Ungrateful jerk. The word sister-in-law clearly pleased him. He squeezed my hand. I didn't say you couldn't go. If you want to go, I'll come with you. Scarlett sniffed. You just want to spy on her. You act like every guy within a mile's gonna steal her. I get it. she's amazing, but have a little confidence. I don't have any. He said it like it was obvious. I worked this hard to get her. I'm not letting anyone else get close. I was so flustered and annoyed by their loud back and forth that I wrenched my hand out of his, voice raised. Stop talking about this. Scarlett froze immediately, setting down her teacup. Babe, are you mad at him or me? Want us to get on our knees again? She jerked her head at Elijah, silently telling him to join her. Elijah actually looked like he was considering it. The old man set down his teacup too, and stood up. He glanced at me, hesitant. Do I have to get on my knees too, young lady? I covered my face in despair. The whole elite circle was losing it. That first night, I barely slept at all. By dawn, my throat was hoarse and my eyes were red. He washed me carefully afterward, kissing me over and over. I sniffled and threw a pillow at him. It didn't hit hard. He caught it easily, leaning down to kiss my lips again and again. I'm sorry, baby. It's all my fault. I just couldn't help myself. I promise I'll stop next time. I sniffled. You said that like 3 times already. Elijah kissed my forehead, my nose, then smiled against my mouth. You're so cute. So beautiful. I can't stop looking at you. Simon, get some sleep. When you wake up, you can yell at me all you want, okay? I was exhausted. I mumbled a few grumpy things and fell asleep curled up in his arms. I didn't wake up until noon, half asleep. Elijah carried me to brush my teeth, fed me breakfast, and somehow talked me into a few more rounds. I didn't wake up properly until late afternoon. I stumbled out to the living room, sore and annoyed, and threw another pillow at his satisfied back. You liar. You just say you'll stop and then you never do. Liar. Elijah turned around, surprised. Then I saw Scarlett standing in the entryway, eyes wide. Am I interrupting? Should I come back later? He walked over and picked me up, cooing soft apologies while he helped me put my shoes on. Then he glanced at his sister sharp. Why are you here if you know you're interrupting? Scarlett gasped, offended. You told me to bring her to the Paris auction to pick out an engagement ring she likes. I looked at him, confused. Engagement ring? Scarlett clapped a hand over her mouth. Realizing she'd spilled the secret, he finished tying my shoe, then took a deep breath. He looked up at me with those big, pretty puppy dog eyes. Baby, all my money's yours. I'm yours. Are you gonna make me wait forever for a real title? Wait. It's not like I was gonna say no. I covered his mouth with my hand. Yeah. The whole elite circle was definitely losing it. Oh well. My best friend and my boyfriend. Someone had to keep them in line. The night before the wedding, it was my bachelorette party. Scarlett had a little too much to drink and leaned in to spill a secret. Babe, don't let the sad puppy eyes fool you. That man is a master schemer. You gotta watch your back. Hey, it's probably too late anyway. You know that ice cream shop you love? The one that's always closed right when you're on your period? He paid the owner to close up and go on vacation every month. I couldn't even get ice cream there. And you wanna know how Jacob met Victoria? He set them up. I mean, to be fair, Jacob was greedy and stupid enough to fall for it, but still. Hey, if it all goes south, well, run away together. Go find those male strippers. The apartment door swung open. Elijah walked in, long legs eating up the distance. He hauled Scarlett onto the couch to lie down, then took my hand and pulled me into the guest bedroom. He backed me up against the door and kissed me hard. I clung to his waist, breathless. Aren't you supposed to be at your bachelor party with your friends? Didn't want to go, wanted you. We've only been apart one day, one whole day. And you were already planning to go see male strippers. He frowned, jealous. I stared at his stupid perfect face. I was a little tipsy and almost gave in, but I held onto the last thread of my sanity. I never said I was going. But wait, you said no more lies. Explain the ice cream shop. And Jacob and Victoria. His face flickered with surprise, then that familiar sad, kicked puppy look settled back into his eyes. Baby, are you really gonna be mad at me over all that? He kissed me again, his breath growing heavier. We haven't seen each other all day. I missed you. Didn't you miss me? My thoughts went fuzzy again. That's not what I'm talking about. Elijah lifted me up, set me down gently on the bed, and leaned over me. In the dim light, his dark eyes looked deeper, hungrier. Right before everything went dark, I heard him whisper, low and rough, I'm sorry. Baby, I can't stand the thought of anyone else being near you. I can't stand you being close to another man. Just looking at you makes me crazy. It's too late to back out now. I'm never letting you go. Never. Hey there. Could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10. Please, I'm begging you. It really means a lot to me, and if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit follow.